Hi, I'm Nick Taylor. I'm from Wichita, Kansas, and I'm proud to be representing the United States in the Paralympic Games in London in 2012. To be going to the third Paralympic Games is, first of all, awesome, just like the other two were. For wheelchair tennis, it's the pinnacle, I think. It's the pinnacle for my career, for sure. To be representing my country in the Paralympic Games, there's nothing bigger or better to me. After Athens, I had two greatest moments of my life. It was going into the opening ceremonies and winning a gold medal. Repeated in Beijing, so now I'm at 4. We'll hopefully get to 6 after London. There's a big target on our back. There's been a big target on our back for a long time, but this is, I think if we're able to win this gold, I think it will, in some ways, probably be even more meaningful for David and I, even more so than the other two. Not that the other two weren't extremely meaningful, but this is going to be the hardest one. There's several very, very good teams. I really think there's 3 teams there with the capability of all coming home with a medal, and it could be in any color order. I don't really know. I hope it's us, obviously, but there's 3 very, very strong teams there, and another, a lot of other very solid teams that could beat any of us on any day. The fact that I'm a Paralympian, it means a lot to me, and let me explain that a little bit. When I was a little kid, I don't really know whether it was the 84 or the 88 games. I don't remember, but I sat there watching them, the Olympic Games, and saying, wow, that's so cool. I loved sports then, and I just thought that was such an unbelievable thing that those people got to represent their country. And I told myself I wanted to do that. And, here I was a little kid. I didn't even know what Paralympics were. In Wichita, Kansas, I'd never even heard of it. I didn't even know it existed. The first kind of, I remember I kept saying it. And when I was like 10, 11, 12 years old, I remember saying it to my parents, and we decided that the only Paralympic sport, then we kind of found out about Paralympics and stuff like that, and I didn't even know wheelchair tennis existed, but they found out that swimming was maybe a possibility because I love to swim. My only problem is floating is not a Paralympic sport. You actually have to move at this point, in our career with all that we've done and that we've won the last 2 golds. Coming home with anything less than a gold, I think is going to be, unfortunately, it's going to be failure in most people's eyes. It certainly will be, and I think in mine. I know it will be in mine, and I'm, David as well. I know, and I think a lot of people, coming home, a lot of family and friends and different people and, media and stuff, they're just, it's kind of like, they're saying, well, it's a given. Of course you're going to win. You've won the last 2. No, it's not like that, but it's going to be a very difficult one to win. But it certainly wouldn't say throw the last 4 years away. We've done a ton in the last 4 years. A lot of Grand Slams, a lot of, great trips and good tournaments and stuff like that. But this will be the toughest one.